that you had that you'd stole.
Hi guys, welcome to lesson 5 of this series explaining how to use the terminal. In this video I will show you how to find files on your system. We will see two standard tools to do that. The first one is surprise, the command find. So let's start. Find, and the first argument to that command is the starting directory. So let's say I want to start my search in the documents directory, and I will be looking for a file named 2560x1440.png, and I didn't find it. Okay, let's try to annotate several directories. Alright, so apparently this file exists in the images directory. Now let's say I want to search in all the subdirectories from my home directory. Again, this symbol here means that my current working directory is my home directory. And what you can do is, use that character here again, or use the full path to your home directory, or as this is the current directory, the one I'm currently in, there is an alias for that, and that's just a dot. Okay, so now it will look into all subdirectories and the subdirectories of these subdirectories for a file named exactly like this. So that might take a while, but at the end you will see. Alright, now it finished all the files that match this name, possibly in other directories, and you can see it printed this dot again here, which it didn't do here. So there is actually a relationship between what's printed here and what is that you wrote here. Now you can use several options to define command, like you can look only for files or directories named like this. Of course, now if I search for a file, it's gonna find that file, and if I wanted to search for a directory, there isn't any directory named that way. What usually happens when I search for files is that I don't know if I wrote like lowercase or uppercase, and what you can do is, because this thing here is case sensitive, is going to look for an exact match, is use this I prefix, and this just means insensitive, looking by the name. And let's say I wrote uppercase X here, uppercase P. What's going to find that file anyway? Also, what happens most of the time is that I don't exactly know the name of the file. Maybe I don't know the extension. So what you might think is to do this, but that didn't work, because again, this is using the shell pattern expansion, meaning it's trying to find files within the current directory with that name, that pattern. What I want to do is actually provide the find command with some special argument here that it can understand, and I don't want it to be expanded, because as I said in a previous video, what this does is if you press the tab key now, well, you can see that it didn't actually expand it. If there was any match, it would actually replace it with the matches that it found in the current directory. So what I need to do is simply put this between quotes, and by doing that you will actually bypass the expansion mechanism of your shell. And now this means the find command really saw that thing here with the star. It didn't see a substitution. Now, as you saw before, searching for files with find might be kind of slow, you know, as we did here. It took a few seconds, even on a SSD drive. So one of the alternatives to that is to use an index, which means you need to index your files some of the time. And the first thing you're gonna do is run the update db command. Actually, your system might automatically do it once in a while, otherwise you'd have to execute it manually, and this might actually require super user rights. You know, you need to log in as root, so you can either do that or use, you know, the sudo command, which stands for switch user and do. I can try it now, and it's gonna ask me for my password, and I'm lucky it didn't take that long. If you don't have the sudo command, you can either install and configure it, but in all cases you should be able, except maybe on Ubuntu systems where the password for root is not defined, to use just the su as in switch user command with that thing here to say, let's go to the environment of some user, and you could put root here on another user, and if you don't put anything, it's gonna log in as root, and then you put not your password as with sudo, but the password of the user root. And if you have one configured as I do, then you're gonna be logged as root with its environment. You can see that my local user here has a different configuration, different set of colors on the shell than the user root, where I kept the, you know, the default configuration, because you're not supposed to log in as root that often. You can also use the su command with the -c argument to execute the command directly, but I'm not gonna cover that. You can look in the manual how you can use that. So here again I could execute this command. If I want to go back to my local user session, I can just write exit. That is that if I wrote the exit command here, it would actually close that window, and I would need to open the terminal again. If I was on some kind of remote connection, I would have to connect again. Alright, now that I have this index, there is a command that allows you to look for things in that index, and this is the command locate. So the argument that you're gonna put here is not going to be an exact match like find. So I'm going to look for a file that has, let's say, this in it, and it's going to look into, you know, the whole file system. You cannot say like start somewhere or something. You will need to filter the results if you want to do that. And now you can see that it found that a file with a similar name a few times on my system, but you can see that it also matched this one with 2 letters here, one with a letter at the beginning, or a bunch of letters at the end. So actually, if I really wanted only this, I would need to use the -w as in whole name option. Actually, you can write it like this. That would be the long option as opposed to this one, which is the short option. And now you can see it only matched the whole name. I can also put several arguments. Let's say I want a file which has abcd and a file with conf, and now it's going to list lots of files, because it's gonna list all the files with this and all the files with this, which might be a lot. If I really want files that have both, and need to use the all option, or that will be its shortcut. And now, as you can see, it only listed these files. So voila, that's it for how to find files on your system. I hope you liked this video. Make sure to subscribe.
It was a thing that you had that you'd stolen.